What the hell did we even just watch?
Cavs suffered an historic loss to the New York Knicks, down a 44 to 11 run. New York. I can't even say the words right because I still can't believe what I just watched. We're recording right after that game happened. And honestly, it's one of the worst things I've seen in a while. It goes down depending on how this series ends. I feel like this game goes down in the likes of the drive, the fumble, etc. I'm calling it the Garden, but that was absolutely terrible. Make sure you follow us, hit that subscribe button, hit the like, and something we're doing as well. You could give us a call, leave us a voicemail. We'll play it on air. Give us your thoughts. 216-260-3433. Noah, I predicted that the Knicks would take this 3-1. And then I talked a lot of shit during the game because I realized how well the Cavs handle this Knicks teams. I'm kind of back to 3-1, I think.
Yeah, this was a rough watch, and it wasn't for three-fourths of the game, three and three fifths. I don't even care about the math. This was a rough watch, not because of what we saw in the first quarter, not because of what we saw in the second quarter, not because of what we saw in the third quarter, not because of what we saw. Well, no, it is. The last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter was absolutely abysmal. We were up 22 points with 10 minutes to go in this game. This is the largest comeback in Knicks playoff history. This is a generational choke job by the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I can't believe I witnessed it. I was upstairs, I was brushing my teeth, I was getting ready for the show because I was like, okay, I could take a couple minutes away from this fourth quarter because we're up 22 damn points. Have the game on my phone, have to run back downstairs, lock all the way back into the game just to get my heart broken. And I'm upset. There's a lot of reasons I'm upset, but I'm gonna just leave it at I'm upset.
Yeah, it's the largest comeback win in playoffs since 1970. During that 18-1 run that the Knicks had, Brunson had 13 points. There's so much to dissect here. I want to start with where I lay the blame chiefly, and that is one Kenny Atkinson. He, for
Amen,
me,
brother.
takes all of the blame here. So first of all, you went from playing this beautiful game for 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters, where there was ball movement. We were getting the bigs involved. I mean, we were moving the ball like we haven't seen so far in the playoffs, frankly. And then in that fourth quarter, towards the end of that fourth quarter, we go back to ISO ball. We go back to letting James Harden dribble until the shot clock winds down, and then hoisting up. If I hear step back three by Harden one more time, I might actually lose my shit because he does not make those. So we go away from the game plan. You let a run go on without a timeout. He called a timeout way too late into that run
Way too
to
late.
settle them down. You could draw up a game plan out of a timeout to get Mitch to the hoop, to move that ball around a little more, draw a foul, just see a bucket go in. And we didn't do that. It was a 44 to 11 run to end the game. 44 to 11. That's insane.
So my umbrage with Kenny Atkinson has to do with more of the fact about the timeout and the fact that we left Harden on Brunson for that entire run. We didn't sub in Dean Wade. Yeah, I'm giving Dean Wade credit right now after all
Sure.
the ups and downs that we've had, because at least he knows how to put the clamps on Brunson. James Harden could not defend him. I don't even mind us going to ISO ball when we're up 22 because you're wasting the clock down. It's a good way to clock manage. But when it gets to a certain point in time, Erik, you got to move away from it and you got to move forward instead of continuing to go down the path that is shooting you in the foot that lost you this game. So yes, I agree with you there for the most part as well.
Well,
I don't
let me
get
slight disagree with you real quick because you don't ever play, in my opinion. I don't care if you're up 22, 42, 52. You don't play not to lose. And that's what they did. When you talk about, okay, let's play ISO ball because you can get the clock. No, keep playing your game. You're up 22. Like, we should not have changed our game plan. 1000% agree, though. The fact that you didn't change your game plan at all on Brunson, who's going off on you, like, you don't want to put an extra body on him. You don't want to change who's defend. Like, that makes zero sense. The lack of adjustments by Atkinson is unforgivable. But go on. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Oh, no, you're totally fine, and I don't disagree with what you're saying either. Like, put the pedal to the metal, put your foot to their neck because you're gonna take an away game in game one when you know you got to get at least probably two of them realistically if you want to win this series, and you blew one away. You had an opportunity sitting on your lap and you blew it away because you rode with James Harden. It's the same argument we've had series in and series out at this point with this Cavaliers team. Kenny Atkinson relies too much on not riding the hot hand, I guess is the best way to put that. Like, I use the example of Ty Lue pulling Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love in a series against the Pacers all the time. And Kenny Atkinson just does not do that. James Harden was not making shots. James Harden was not playing good enough defense. James Harden was a liability in the fourth quarter. And what did we do? Ignored all of that and continued to play James Harden into OT and have him guard Jalen Brunson, and it still be an issue. I'm not here saying Harden sucks. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because I feel like that's an overreaction for one game when he has been decent enough for us throughout most of this playoff run. But what I am saying is sometimes you got to look at what's going on the court and not overthink it. And I feel like we're overthinking it right now.
Yeah, Atkinson, I mean, he's talked about it where when he went against his game plan, it was a surprise. Like it's like he has locked in, he wants certain players, certain minutes, whatever. You got to make adjustments though. Like you can't just ride with exactly what you're saying. Like I don't even have much else to add. Where this team goes from here obviously is the big question mark. For me, even as we were up big, I was texting you and we were talking about it, and I was saying that we do fare better against New York. I was nervous coming into this series because of our turnover issue, because New York can go on runs exactly like we saw. That's what made me nervous. We don't put games away, and if it's close, we can let games get out of hand. That doesn't happen with a team like the Pistons, team like the Raptors, because they just don't have enough to hurt you. It can happen against a team like the Knicks, and we saw exactly that. Even as I was watching, though, we talked about it. We fare better against a Knicks team because of how we match up. We can space the floor better, which we saw through 3.5 quarters. Our guys can hit their spots. We can rotate better. And frankly, when we're playing decent defense, we can really hold them and contend them. Even as I was watching that and I was saying those things to you, though, it did go through my mind that maybe this is a rust game. And the only reason I'm saying that is because the Knicks were on fire. And that's why I picked them to win 3-1, because I mean, they were clicking on all cylinders going into the series, and we weren't. We were finding it a little bit, but we weren't clicking like they were. And then you watch it and I go, okay, maybe I was wrong. I was ready to come on here and eat crow and say, listen, I was completely wrong. Cavs are going to take this in 6. Let's go. And we see this performance, this choke job, frankly. And I don't know how you can go in there. I mean, you have to win game 2 in New York if you want a chance at the series. I don't know how you can go in there Thursday night and and come out of this and be positive and win. I just don't know how you can get over this one when it was right there. I mean, Sam Merrill's 3 was in the bucket. It was right there. You had the win and it escapes.
Yeah, it's one of the, if not the most demoralizing loss I think I've ever sat through, and I've sat through a lot of crazy losses as my in my time of being a Cleveland sports fan, right? But this one is one of those ones, man. This is in that list. This is in that territory of the ones that you never bring up until the next one comes around. It's almost like Voldemort. It's he, it, whatever that should not be named. That is what we have going on with this moment. The Sam Merrill moment that you're talking about, the ball rims in and rims out. I mean, that is just a perfect encapsulation of what this game felt like as a Cavs fan. We were cruising. We were having fun. You were having fun on X, making fun of people, talking your crap as you should. We were all kind of on that vibe. And then we lost the basketball game. And that's what makes this so frustrating. You talk about game 2. Game 2 is become already a pivotal game in this series because you have to clap back somehow, or else all of that discourse about the lights being too bright and all of that comes right back around because you got your ass handed to you when you could have won by 20 some points. You got to do something now in game 2. I don't know if this team has it in them. They've proven me wrong though. I was pretty damn low after game 6. I know we didn't have a video out on the page, but game 6 losing at home, I was pretty damn low going back to Detroit, and we handed them BTA. So maybe this is what the Cavs needed, was a slap in the face wake up call again I'm just so sick of the roller coaster, Eric. I'm trying to convince myself one way and I'm trying to convince myself the other way. But one minute we're up here with this Cavs team, the next minute we're down here. And I feel like the peaks and valleys are just getting higher and lower until it's going to either end up where we don't want it to end up or end up how we want it to end up. And I'm not going to say what that is and jinx it.
Yeah, and I'll say this, like watching this, I think that especially if the Spurs can win, I think this Cavs team matches up well against the Spurs, believe it or not. I think that would be a hell of a series in a potential finals, but obviously you have to get past the Knicks. I was formulating what I was going to say for this show as we were winning. And I was going to talk about how, like, regardless of how we looked, how the Knicks looked, you can't count the Knicks out because it's not about getting punched in the face. It's not about falling. It's about getting up from that. And I was going to talk about that in relation to the Knicks, but now I have to talk about it in relation to the Cavs. We just got punched in the mouth. We're bloody. We're on the ground. We're not feeling great, but we got to get up and we got to start swinging again. Can this team do that? Early on, I felt like Mitch had gotten to a point where we talked about it. He finally got over that hump. Like there was a sense of relief that he finally got to the conference finals because he had stagnated, obviously, and had never reached this point. He went off early, and it felt like, okay, we're here. He's arrived. This is the Cavs moment. And yet I mean, it was like sand through your fingers. I still cannot believe that, again, 44-11 run, 44-11. I can't fathom how that happens.
I can't fathom it either. We're going to talk more about this embarrassing loss by our Cleveland Cavaliers, but first, a word from our sponsor.
At the Office is brought to you by Rambler Reserve.
And we're wearing the hats right now.
We are wearing the hats right now, and honestly, this might be one of the best looking things I've put on my head in years.
Rambler Reserve is a Cleveland apparel brand based on history for people who love this city and just can't shut up about it.
So, us?
Us, exactly. Whether it be hats, tees, hoodies, you're going to the game, or you're going to the Muni lot. It's perfect apparel for any Cleveland fan out there.
If your friends say you ramble too much about sports, just own it. Head on over to ramblerreserve.com and use code ATO10 to get 10% off your order.
That's ATO10. ATO like at the office 10, ramblerreserve.com.
We are both wearing the hats right now, and honestly, they look good. We look good wearing them. So head on over to ramblerreserve.com, pick up some merch so you can look good like us. Noah, talk to me some more about Donovan Mitchell in this game.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell, in my opinion, was the most impressive. I think I've seen him in quite some time, at least since that third quarter explosion early on in the Pistons series. He had 41 minutes, 29 points. The craziest stat to me is the 6 steals. I mean, he was all over stealing the ball, getting transition buckets, 4 from 11 from 3, 12 for 23 from the field in general. And, it sucks that Donovan Mitchell had this amazing game after talking about this is a business trip. I don't care about being home on the court. That is his home court because we always talk about him being from New York because the media wants to push Donovan Mitchell to New York. And instead, that's going to all get overshadowed. It's all going to get pushed to the side because we choked the game away. We coached the game away and all of the different gripes that we had. I mean, this team played fantastic 3.5 quarters of basketball, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Don't you agree, Eric?
Yeah, unfortunately, the game of basketball is 4 quarters long.
Right.
And obviously, we see what happens through 4 and then an extra time. I will say this. I don't know if you caught it, but after the game, he was in the tunnel walking back, and obviously he looked dejected or whatever, but he was kind of like giving the handshakes and like being the positivity, like, we'll be fine, we'll be back from this kind of thing. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't even talk. But the leadership of Donovan Mitchell is going to be what we watch here in these next couple games, especially game 2. If he comes back and puts on a show once again, if he takes this over, which he can do, we talked about his disappearing act, et cetera, et cetera. He can do that, though. If he does that, he will cement himself as the superstar that this team needs. Because I will tell you, Harden might have been a superstar once upon a time. He was, for sure. He is not anymore. He's not that guy. He's too old. He can still give us valuable minutes, but coming down the stretch and in overtime, why the ball was in his hands as much as it was baffles me. It should not be the case.
Yeah, it's just another example, Eric, of coaching malpractice and the coaching malpractice that we saw in this game. I'm not going to complain because I do love me a Sam Merrill three, and he was, making his shots behind the arc. But the fact that it was I'm assuming drawn up Sam Merrill three to take care of the game and end it or whatnot, and the ball wasn't in Donovan Mitchell's hand is just another head scratcher to me. But maybe I'm being nitpicky there.
Yeah, I think a little bit. I don't mind that play. He's open. He's at the top of the key. It damn near went in. Like I don't mind that at
Yeah.
all. They were moving the ball on that play finally, so I like that. Let's talk about their game plan through 3.5 quarters, though, because the Knicks. Listen, obviously Jalen Brunson went off. He ended up with 38 points. He won the game for them. Period. But our game plan early on was to limit him, to limit everybody. I mean, Carl Anthony Towns only had 13, Josh Hart 13, Bridges had 18. Like we did the job, and defensively, we looked really good against them and matching up against them, and frankly, holding their stars to quiet nights.
Yeah, it's just what makes it more frustrating, right, Eric? That word is the word of the day is frustration, frustrated. Any way you want to put frustrate into a sentence, it's the word of the day because they played. I was I texted you during the first quarter. I love our defensive effort right now, and not that we've had poor defensive effort, but it was noticeable. It jumped off the page. It jumped off the screen. And for all of this, for Mitchell's game, for hell, I'll even give a shout out again to Dean Wade because he was the only starter with a solid plus minus in this game. He had 10 points. He's making his shots from three in the corner, mind you. He was calling for the ball at one point. When have you
Yeah.
ever seen Dean Wade call for a basketball in the regular season? Hell, even in the preseason. All of this gets all washed away because we embarrassed ourselves in the Garden. We embarrassed ourselves in the Mecca of sports. We embarrassed ourselves on national TV. And I'm embarrassed to sit here and talk about it and not flex on the Knicks fans like I was planning to do for 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, the only thing I can say to that, because I completely agree, is don't sleep on my boy Keon Ellis. I know he was only in for 5 minutes, but he had the best plus minus at +6. I actually would like to see more of him in this series. We'll see how it goes, obviously. The other thing that we didn't mention, Max Strus came in towards the end of that game, was subbed back in finally. I thought we should have seen him earlier. That was a move that made sense. They finally put him on Brunson, who had helped to lock down Brunson for part of the night. And yet they did that way too late. It was already over at that point, frankly. Um, all right. I think we need to like do a breathing exercise together. Like we got to put this one past us. The team has to, fans have to, and we need to show up for game two.
Yeah, we do need to show up for game two. And that's a great transition to the question I was going to ask you. And how confident are you in game two and the Cavs winning in the Garden and bouncing back from this god awful, no good, terrible loss?
Well, here's the good news. What we saw and what Cavs players saw is that they can win in the Garden. The Garden was quiet. You could drop a pin in there in that third quarter, early fourth quarter. I mean, they were checked out, everyone's sitting. They were a non factor. And let me tell you, I have no love lost for Knicks fans. I think they're annoying as hell. They think because they pay more for apartments that they're better than everyone else. And I love New York City, don't get me wrong. The Garden
Fair.
is one of the coolest and toughest places to play in the league, period. And that place was rocking when they were back in it. We had them silent. So the good news is like we know how to do that. We know how to win. The bad news is I don't know if we have the coach. I think we have the players. In fact, I know we have the players. I think we match up well. I really don't know if we have the coach. And so I'm going to keep my prediction at 3-1. Cavs will lose. Will they take game two? I say no.
I I wanna say I have faith, but after what I watched, I just can't have faith in this Cavs team to pull one out. Even if they're up, I mean, if they're up 25, 30 points again, something crazy in the 4th quarter, are we gonna sit here and feel comfortable in game 2? No. Are the Knicks fans gonna worry about that? No, they're gonna be on their feet now, so the momentum that felt like it was gonna be a nice 50-50 matchup through a majority of this game where we could have some fight, they could have some fight. It was going to be it's completely in the Knicks' favor now because of how bad of a loss this is. So to me, for me to think that they could win game 2 would be me putting on my fandom goggles just a little too much for me to feel comfortable predicting that on air.
Yeah, listen, we should have won this game. I will say I tweeted this out, and I don't want to have a long conversation about it because this is about next year, and we're playing hypotheticals. But something I tweeted out, and I believe this: if LeBron was on this team, and I'm not talking about LeBron of yesteryear, I'm talking about current LeBron who can facilitate, it still give you really positive minutes. Don't get me wrong. If he's on this team, I think we win the finals.
I don't know if we win the finals, and that's a a long conversation that could be had. But I do think our chances of winning the finals, I do think our chances of making the finals, I do think obviously everything goes up because that's another high star player wherever you want to put him in terms of his age and his play. I mean, I think he had a great year in 2025 and 2026. So don't get me wrong, I'm not dissing the goat by any means. So yeah, of course I think it gives our chances better. Do I think they win the finals with LeBron? I don't know. That's a hypothetical that's really hard to see, and we might see sooner rather than later if we don't pull this one and pull this postseason run together. Eric, you asked me about LeBron. I got one last question for you.
Sure, what's up?
Is this loss worse than the Browns loss to the Jets in like 2 minutes to Joe Flacco a couple years back, in your opinion?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely, because the Browns weren't playing for anything. That's the
That's
difference,
fair.
like, the Cavs are actually put like, what I saw through most of this game was a Cavs team that is ready and able to make the NBA finals. I don't know if they can win it. I don't know if I think they match up decently against, especially the Spurs. But I saw a team that had ascended, and then we were brought back down to reality. So we were this close, and it's game one. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not getting ahead of myself at all. But we're this close to taking game one in a pivot. It's like when we lost game one to Golden State on the JR mishap, and that
Yep.
just demoralized that Cavs team. Like, you
Yep.
saw LeBron checked out after that. It
Yep.
feels like that a little bit. I don't think the team is checked out. Don't get me wrong, and we have to see game two. But that's what it feels like from a demoralization standpoint to me.
Yeah, that's kind of the same like war flashbacks that I was having as well. I could make an argument that the Jets loss is worse because it just played into a Browns reputation that they were finally starting to shake. But I agree, especially because of how big the stage is, how bright the lights were. I hate that I just said that, but that's what it is. That's what makes this even more frustrating because we had it. We had it in the bag and we were ascending and all of the things you were saying. But Matt, former host of the show, wanted me to pose that question in here. So I wanted to get it in there and make sure I asked. It's up there. Those are two of the worst Cleveland sports moments in my recent memory, at least, is the Jets loss and now this loss to the Knicks. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't wanna go down that road, but for me, it will be in my lifetime, it'll definitely be the rain delay. Like, we were minutes away from a World Series title in
that
the
too.
same year that we had a Cavs title. That will forever be the worst one for me because I don't even wanna go down that road, but, obviously, neither of us were alive for the drive, the fumble, etcetera. You hear those things and you internalize it as a Cleveland fan, like, that makes it a part of our identity, some of
Yeah.
these flaws in our sports history, but we didn't live through it. Now we're living through it ourselves, and it's rough. It's rough out here, man.
It is rough out here indeed. Hopefully, the Cavs can make us feel better and we can go back up the roller coaster of Cleveland Cavaliers basketball that we often have to do because that's what this playoff run has been. It's been a lot of highs, it's been a lot of lows. Hopefully, we could get a high before we get here Saturday night for game 3 in Cleveland.
Yeah, on that note, I wanna hear from you. Give us a call, leave us a voicemail, tell us what you think and, what you predict this series going forward, 216-260-3433. 3-3. The debate never ends, but the show does for now. We'll see you next time.